Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing well. This video will be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about fandoms and their toxicity. But first, what makes a fandom toxic? When you think about a toxic fandom, you'll normally think of large fandoms such as the K-pop fandom or any fandom related to anime, specifically the Danganronpa fandom. Not everyone in the fandom is toxic, but the fandom is basically a toxic wasteland. These fandoms are notorious for doxing people over the littlest of things, all the way to causing physical harm to others. We're going to be diving into some incidents from the most toxic fandoms out there, or just even toxic situations in general from some of these fandoms. Let's get started. Don't get me wrong, I'm in the Minecraft YouTuber fandom, and there's some pretty amazing art and, people in there. But what makes this fandom toxic? Around 2020 of last year, the fandom got large on TikTok. New cosplayers were popping up, and new artists were showing their abilities. Everything was fine and dandy until the fandom soon crossed over to Twitter. Toxicity began to spread from there. While the fandom was beginning to grow, more and more people were being toxic with others. One tweet reads, "Bruh, all those people that are straight up hateful towards my mutuals because they drew DSMP characters, Genshin Impact style, are just ridiculous, and it shows how toxic their fandom is. Let us enjoy things, we'll let you enjoy yours." If you haven't been on Twitter or TikTok for quite some time, or you aren't really involved in either fandom, let me fill you in. George Not Found, a popular Minecraft YouTuber and streamer, recently announced he was going to play Genshin Impact, a popular Chinese-styled game. This game is cherished by many, though the fandoms don't really overlap. The Genshin fandom was outraged by this and hated on the content creator for this, but the Minecraft YouTuber fandom was thrilled about the information, and due to the content creator playing it, they wanted to try it out for themselves. While in reality, this doesn't sound like a bad thing, due to how bad the fandom is considered to be, some people in the Minecraft YouTuber fandom took the characters and started both sexualizing them and even calling one of the characters Dream and George's kid. On that note, let's talk about Dream Not Found. Dream Not Found is a popular ship within the Dream SMP fandom. Dream, the creator of the SMP, and George Not Found are two friends who've clarified they're okay with the ship. But the ship isn't the problem, it's the fans of the ship. If you're around during the popular ship fan, I'll let you think of that, considering this is basically modern day Dan and Phil, but it's surprising how worse it is. They're normally symbolized with the colors green and blue due to the colors of their Minecraft skin, and the fans will take these colors and apply it everywhere, even if the video is irrelevant to said ship. This is what gives the fandom a bad reputation. If anyone disagrees with the symbolizing, they'll say some pretty harmful things. People will take this and blame it on the content creator, which of course isn't a good move. But let's move on. Now, a lot of the Minecraft YouTuber community doesn't really ship said ship. I don't personally, but many people joke about it. But there's some people who are out there that are convinced that it's real, and people tend to say some pretty bad things and even obsess over said ship and put pressure onto the content creators for it. Now, let's move on to the creators. Aside from Dream and George, there are a ton of MCYTs out there, but let's focus more on the ones related to the Dream SMP or people who are involved with it. Tommy Innit, Wilbur Soot, and the most controversial of them all, who isn't really MCYT, Jay Schlatt. Recently, many controversies have been popping up around the YouTubers, and let's talk about them in order. By the way, I don't want this to affect your views on the person, and I don't hold any sort of opinion, but when it comes to, the people that still support them or don't support them, do not hate on the people with opposing views. Thank you. Tommy Innit, a 17-year-old Minecraft YouTuber, has recently been under fire for making a remark about lesbians in a quote-unquote wrong way. This isn't his first incident with having, this situation happen or even saying anything about lesbians that make them uncomfortable. Let's watch the video.
No jokes.
How funny I like men. Dream.
Wait.
Dream.
No. I don't like men. I like girls. Hate men. I get lesbians. This isn't a joke. I love them and I understand them.
No jokes.
What's not a joke?
Okay.
It's true. I do. I get it. I resonate.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. I get them, and I don't know. I feel, I don't get a lot of people, but I'm on the same wavelength as them. We've got quite a clear thing in common, and I respect that.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
The video isn't really, anything wrong. A lot of people were uncomfortable about the clip. Of course, he didn't have any bad intention with what he said and even expressed his support for lesbians, But, you know, a lot of people are uncomfortable with what he said, but this isn't one of the only things he's done. KSI, a YouTuber who's been openly transphobic, is friends with Tommy Innit, and Tommy Innit has made videos with KSI, and a lot of people disapproved of this. He quickly apologized and said he didn't really know about the situation. Another thing, and the last thing we're going to be talking about with Tommy Innit, is a tweet he made asking for someone to say happy birthday under a tweet of the person who is remembering a lost loved one. He quickly apologized for this as well and said he didn't read the tweet fully. Next person we're going to be talking about is someone named Wilbur Soot. You've probably heard about him from his song called Your New Boyfriend, if you're not involved in the Dream SMP fandom. He had or has a song called The Night Sky Ballad, which has some pretty interesting lyrics, one of them being, I just wanted to make sure you weren't seeing any black guys. Let's watch the video.
All I did was attach a tracker onto your car. It's not a felony. It's not even a crime. Just wanted to make sure you weren't seeing any black guys.
While he's changed the lyric and apologized many times before, this made a lot of people of color really uncomfortable, and that's the only scandal I know of that he's gone into. Let's talk about Jay Schlatt. The most recent thing Jay Schlatt has done was allow a friend to make a blackface joke, which he wasn't comfortable with, but he still approved of a thumbnail being made displaying the joke. But this wasn't the only thing he's done. Let's talk about the other things. He's joked about Black Lives Matter, he's made jokes about race, upon many other things that shouldn't be joked about. But people excuse this as dark humor, but even dark humor still has its limits. People need to realize there's a difference between playing a character and just stepping over lines that should not be crossed just for the slightest bit of fame. A lot of people use the excuse, he's allergic to dust, to defend him. Allergies don't mean anything when it comes to this. Though a lot of people fake certain things to cancel him that isn't good at all, and people have even wished death upon him, and even tried to dox him. While I am not defending him, sending threats, death threats to be specific, and doxing someone makes you just as bad as the other person. Let's move on to the Danganronpa fandom. The Danganronpa fandom is quite the fandom. People constantly fake mental illnesses, people make fun of one another all the time, people dox one another for not liking or even liking a certain character, and the list goes on. The show itself isn't necessarily bad. I can't really find anyone who hasn't been cancelled within the fandom. Not to mention, there are a lot of servers out there on Discord who will try and get your information for once again not liking or disliking a character. Yes, this has happened, and yes, I will show the screenshots, but I will not reveal the actual information and make sure the screenshots are blurred. And yeah, you'll also get death threats. But what is Danganronpa? Danganronpa is both an anime and an anime-based game. The point of the game is to kill and not get caught, but if you're caught, you'll get a punishment, so on and so forth, vice versa. As far as I can remember, everything got popular late 2019, early 2020, and there were a lot of cosplayers popping up. These cosplayers began to go pretty bright with their cosplays, and then this ended up in them being made fun of. There isn't much for Danganronpa, but if you want to see how bad it can be, you should go to Tumblr, Twitter, Discord, and or TikTok. Let's move on with our last topic, the My Hero Academia fandom. When it comes to the My Hero Academia fandom, you will automatically think of the toxic side if you know what the fandom is most of the time, but most of these people are usually just young kids trying to act cool or quirky, no pun intended, but boy are they something else. In my opinion, the fandom has died down just a little bit, so there will not be too much to talk about in this segment, but there will be enough to give you the idea of what I'm trying to say. If you don't know what My Hero Academia is, My Hero is an anime about a boy named Izuku Midoriya, or nicknamed Deku, who is born quirkless and then later develops said quirk, so on and so forth. It's your typical action anime mixed in with some romance and a little bit of slice of life. Though the fandom doesn't really sit, well with the show. A lot of cosplayers have a no doubles thing when it comes to meetups, and a lot of the cosplayer content creators are really problematic, either with racism, ableism, blah blah blah, which isn't really anything good. All I'm going to say is, it mirrors Danganronpa's fandom to a T, and, there isn't much to talk about, but, I'll do my best. Let's move on. While the fandom has its really interesting moments, such as the Somebody Once Told Me parody about a character named Shoto Todoroki, all the way to its really cringy shipping fandom, it's really toxic. One of the reasons why this fandom is so toxic is something called a ship war, where people try to prove why their ship is better than yours. If you're into that sort of thing, which of course happens in every single fandom, but in this fandom is like some sort of Olympic sport. It's really impressive to me on how much they will rate just to prove why Bakudeku is better than any other ship you have. It's really funny, not gonna lie. On the topic of ships, they have a lot of really questionable ones, such as All Might x Deku or Midoriya, Overhaul x Eri, who is, if I remember correctly, only 6 years old, and upon many other ones, which just mainly consists of adults with literal children. There's just like a lot of bullying within this fandom, more than any other fandom I've seen, but that's bound to happen in really large fan bases. I just wanted to touch on that lightly. There's just like a lot of bullying I've seen, whether you're a kid getting, first getting into cosplay, or an adult who's really, has been in the fandom for a really long time, or you're just not really good at cosplay art, they will bully you for it, regardless. Even if you're black, white, Asian, not really white, I've seen, but, if you're black, cosplaying a character who's Asian or white, or just any other race than that, you get bullied a lot. I've seen a lot of comments directed towards black or people of color cosplays, because, that's not canon. It's really sad. I just wanted to touch on that lightly. I don't know if I worded that correctly, but I just wanted to touch on that lightly. This fandom is really racist. And, I just wanted to touch on that lightly. To finish and wrap up today's video, let me play you some of my favorite My Hero Academia moments. Once again, just before we get started, one thing is they will dox you over ships or send you death threats, or just characters in general. Is basically Danganronpa's, younger sibling. They will dox you, send you death threats because you like Bakugo. I don't really know. But, let's watch the videos.
Nobody once told me to power Todoroki! Your mother burned your face and she left!
The Louisville SuperCon, GalaxyCon with my boyfriend, and I saw some. They couldn't have been older than 15. It was a cosplayer dressed as Toga, dragging around a Bakugo on a chain, which Chaser Bliss, whatever. But they walked by me, and the Toga said, "Oh look, that Toga has an unchained dog." Silly Toga. Like, what the fuck? You're 4. You gotta be like 14. What the fuck? I know. I know about like the toxic BNHA kids, but like I haven't witnessed it till now. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Hot blonde, big tits, schoolgirl, lipstick, virgin whore, innocent, the cheerleader who babysits. At home, I'm alone, stranger calls me on the phone. Lights go out, you cut the line, I'm the perfect size.
And I already have a story to tell. Call it the cult of the 12-year-olds. So I went as Genderbent Toga, my brother went as Shigaraki. And so this little girl, can't remember if she was Uraraka or Toga, but she and a couple of her friends, they ran up to us and they were just like, "Do you want to join our cult?" So me and my brother, we both laughed. We were just like, "Sure, why not?" And so after a while, they amassed about 13 or 14 people, all of them around the ages of 12 to 14, and I think we were probably the oldest. And then after a while, they started doing the normal things of screaming at the top of their lungs. Just about every 15 minutes, they yelled at the top of their lungs, "Plus Ultra!" At that point, me and my brother just ran away, because we didn't want to deal with that. But I heard them doing the "It's Your Power Todoroki" thing, and there was about 25 of them at that point.
I'm really sorry you had to witness all of that. No hate to anyone in those videos. We're all young ones, and if that's the way they want to live it, good for them. But being young, it isn't an excuse. When you're a teen, you should know what's right and what's wrong. Going up to someone and being downright weird towards them, or being just rude to them without knowing their boundaries is really upsetting. If you are a cosplayer, and you see another cosplayer, resting, or, just minding their own business, please do not go up to them and say, really uncomfortable things towards them, especially if they're older to you. Respect everyone's boundaries. You wouldn't want someone doing that to you. Just be really, just be respectful towards anyone around you when you're at a convention. If you have any experiences, feel free to put them in the comments below. Or not, keep that to yourself if you want to. I don't really care. But just make sure, you know about the rules of a convention. It's really good to know those. And yeah, I hope you really enjoyed today's video. I had lots of fun making it, kinda, to an extent. finding those videos for, you know, for the My Hero Academia thing was really uncomfortable to me. There's a lot of toxic fandoms out there. I just wanted to touch on the biggest ones right now currently for this video. I'm probably going to make a part 2. There's a lot of toxic fandoms out there. If you are a part of these fandoms, or if you know anyone that's a part of these fandoms and they're not toxic, good for you. When I say toxic fandom, I'm not talking about literally everyone within the fandom. Lots of big fandoms have great people, you know, like the Dream Recipe fandom, the My Hero Academia fandom, which I'm in both, by the way. But bigger fandoms tend to have more toxic people in them. You know, when you have a small fandom, you're gonna meet more great people than toxic people, but, you know, when you have a fandom as big as, you know, a K-pop fandom or an anime fandom, there's going to be toxic people because, you know, there's more people. And I'm not saying it's the majority. For sure, no, it's not the majority. But, you know, I just wanted to touch over a few. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really hope you liked today's video. Once again, I will post a part 2, maybe part 3, part 4, you know, you never know. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed. I had tons of fun making it. Feel free to like or comment, I don't really know, but I hope you really liked today's video. Bye-bye!
지금은